I think it's pretty bad if NRG don't qualify for the closed event at all. It's still a very new team. The potential is certainly there, but it was always going to be a short amount of time to get them up to scratch. Meanwhile, Beast Coast failed to get through the round of 64 in the Nerd Street Gamers tournament, ran into FaZe Clan in the first set of UMG qualifiers. This is a good shot for them to surprise and get their way into the closed, where their map pool especially might be able to turn some heads.
And for Beast Coast, as we again frame up the conversation specifically around Split, they have a jammyz, and that means that we're going to see a Viper. He's been playing jammyz, has been playing Viper a bunch over the last handful of weeks, really, even months, if you want to consider it to that point. So we'll likely see that come through here for Beast Coast. That will not be matched by NRG, who prefer to stay on double duelist comps. They'll bring the Jett with the more traditional Raze, which Beast Coast will also have a Raze as well. As we jump on in, we'll take a look at this, and it'll actually be Beast Coast on defense first. So this very well may have been the opposite. It very well could have been NRG's pick. They are rolling off of a 13-3 win on this map versus Elevate just a couple of rounds ago. So maybe thinking that, hey, if you want to keep it open, we'll see if we can keep flexing on teams on this map.
Or they wanted to sort of pick their poison and just get the tougher half out the way first.
That's
sort of build a bit of a lead. TiGG's going to be on the Killjoy. He's mostly been on it for the good portion of what's been playing. The thing that works out so well for Beast Coast is that they've been running without a Sova across all of the different maps in these qualifiers, and it's mostly been working out. Cloud9 do it, and Cloud9 look pretty good in First Strike so far, at least, only losing to Renegades, mostly on this map. So Beast Coast going to be comfortable, I suppose, on here. NRG, they took a beating against FaZe. They want to qualify. I think in some cases they might need to qualify depending on how NRG see it. But this is going to be a tough map to start on.
NRG are going to split hit potentially up to B. The spike is still in main. Sam is going to be the first one forward up to heaven. There is a sentry turret nearby. TiGG still holding a corner. Flashpoint will come through. Sentry turret will activate, and a lot of damage actually comes through off the paint cells from YaBoiDre, who does find one kill into eeiu, but the threat still coming down low. But Elevate is good for one kill and keeping his life. effys can't work his way in for more than just a single kill, so now it's down to KOLER, and he's not going to do much at all in the 1v3 that was in front of him. Beast Coast holds strongly on the initial pistol defense.
They're going to have a lot of setups, and it might be a bit of a gauntlet for NRG to break onto some of the sites at this point. I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room. KOLER did not have a good performance in the last game, and I hate to pinpoint him specifically, but him on the Raze is a new change, and it might even consider up changing what agent he's going to be playing, because he looked really good on the Reyna on Haven. So going into some of the other maps like Ascent, you might want to maybe play the Reyna there, for example. You hate to sort of pick on a player in particular, but the potential is certainly there for him. He showed up on Haven, but it's across these other maps and across these other agents where things didn't really go to plan against FaZe. If he can rectify that to some capacity, I think NRG have this pretty easily, to be honest.
Famous last words, Ryan.
Yep, I've screwed it up. I screwed the pooch. But NRG are not looking to win this round, at least. I don't think that's too far to say. And
you're
trying
right
to push on to B. The Viper's stopping him. jammyz keeping him locked down.
And this is going to be a four-man execute eventually with just a single lurk of daps, and this is the power of the Poison Cloud. A little bit of a one-way smoke being used here as the execute's going to have to commit. Dre is going to turn around and then throw over the paint cells, but KOLER instant one-tap will be traded. No confirmation off the kill from the paint cells, but the damage is good. Making use of that is Dre and Elevate, and it's down to eeiu and daps, and daps is still lurking over through top side of B tower. He's not going to be able to do much of anything from this position. eeiu's trying to wait for him to get into a position to really help out in any capacity, but has to trust the frenzy as a special ran out of ammunition, and with that, it's bdog and TiGG that are able to come away with the final 2 kills. And again, 3 members of Beast Coast survive, and no spike was planted once again there for NRG.
Took some guns out the hands of Beast Coast, though. And Viper not really doing so much so far from jammyz, who I got to speak to personally. There's actually like a hit scan video where I sit down and talk to him about, I say new Viper, but it was like the old new Viper way back when some changes came in.
Oh,
he's making it work.
Viper changes happened, yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago now, but so many others have brought Viper into the fold, but he's one of the OGs for sure. This play is quite nice. The paranoia is good, and bdog almost gets some damage in, almost kills some because of the nearsightedness. But an opening for NRG that have taken A ramp control. But beastcoast are positioning themselves to take on the fight head on.
And we still haven't seen the toxic screen get placed a single time yet for jammyz. So it'll be interesting to see
saw
how
it
he
once.
wants to utilize that defensively. Drake gonna come through, find 1 kill onto Som, tries to go to the classic to find KOLER as well, but will be denied. And beyond that, all of these ARs that are positioned just outside A ramps will be staying safe, at least from the perspective of NRG. 4v3 for them.
You did see it once, just to quickly correct you, but it was on the pistol and
Oh,
it was
fair,
in the
yeah, true.
retake. So
Okay,
that's
true.
one of the reasons why we're probably not going to see it. As soon as that spike gets planted, it's going to get drawn in and it's going to provide an opening for beastcoast. But NRG might not even get there yet. Eeiu's under a lot of pressure. So much damage has been taken. KOLER can at least pull some kills, and there we are. The string of plays break apart NRG in the blink of an eye. And some nice play to take that control on A ramp.
But even with that round win, that's now 3 rounds in a row the spike is not planted. So people are going to have to essentially purchase up for one another here to get themselves to a full AR round. And even still, with that in mind, KOLER, who purchased for a friend, is only going to be on light armor. So we're going to have a dead even gun round coming through here. Actually, not even the case, as Som is going to have to stay on just a Spectre. So there's going to be a small advantage here for beastcoast. Also consider the fact that Dre has had a great start to these first 3 rounds. He's already got a showstopper ready to go.
He is going into a place where Viper's going to keep him pinned down with the poison cloud. The showstopper is out in play on the defense. Offense still have 1 to go, like you mentioned, but the play from KOLER has been slow. Pushing through mid with a spike, just in case anything goes wrong. It's an easy pickup instead of working the extremities. It seems like T1 has struggled with that a little bit, with Spider being caught out there a few times, but mid is a battleground. 3 defenders using all of this utility to flush them out, but NRG, that's kind of the aim of the game, right? Get beastcoast to use a lot of that utility, play him in the retake.
But speaking of the utility that's coming out here in the mid round, what's already placed for the side of beastcoast is TiGG, with all of these nano swarms, alarm bot, and sentry drone as well, sitting right in the front side of A. And as soon as the sentry turret activates, he's going to wait a couple of seconds and maybe pop one of the nano swarms. Instead, he's actually going to spam. This is actually really good patience for him. Both nano swarms will be denied. And with that NRG with 30 seconds left, they're looking to make a play, potentially to try to split hit this. This is a risky call because beastcoast, knowing the time will not be in NRG's favor, will rotate all of their defensive members here for the most part. jammyz is the only one who's not in the moment at the site of A. But you have to go. You've got to go if you're NRG. Alarmbot's going to come through. Drake's going to find one. Elevate can't find the one following, but bdog up top will just line down 3, and that's just too easy of a read for beastcoast defense.
I think when you're playing into the comp that beastcoast are trying to run, you cannot afford to try and slow down the play. Sure, fighting in mid, getting all of that utility out if you possibly can, but beastcoast are going to relish off you trying to push the time. They're not going to try and aggressively push you. They're going to anchor onto their site with all of the Killjoy util, and they're going to play retake with all of the stuff that Viper has to offer. It was a bit of, I wouldn't say hubris, because I don't think they're into that point, but not really the way of the style that is going to work for NRG, especially when you have the showstopper. They can buy, but it's not going to be the biggest buy in the world for NRG.
Saw there for a moment, Elevate already has 5 assists on the defensive breach. Pretty incredible, as now KOLER is going to blindly push through with the blast pack and send his showstopper over towards the B tower stairs, of which YaBoiDre has stayed safe from every bit of explosive device that's tossed his way. Elevate, good for the first. jammyz trying to help out, but Elevate will actually find himself too. YaBoiDre for a double as he pitches from the staircase. Daps the last one left, and he's done some incredible things on his own before in what seems to be impossible rounds. This would definitely top the instances we've seen previously, as the spike is down up top B tower and he's in a 1v3.
I can see the Reddit clip already. But he has been doing super well. This might be a bridge too far, considering all of these crossfires set up around the spike. He's going to try and just pick it up. He can actually do it without being... I don't really think there's going to be much else. You can get a bit of damage onto jammyz, but bdog's going to train him out. The steal. I could just imagine beastcoast being like, wait, where did it go? Oh, he's right down there. But daps, he's adjusted really well from Counter-Strike, I think. And the IGL role, I think the Cypher suits him more than the Omen, which is what he was on before when he had Exceed on the roster. And we already spoke about effys. I think even though NRG haven't been as convincing today, to say the least, I would still, you know, consider him a little bit longer, keep him on trial, maybe even pick him up because you know that you can get he's not the problem with this team so far, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, not even a little bit. It'd be. I mean, I think it'd be difficult to point a finger at one person in specific, but the paranoia is being traded back and forth. bdog does well to get away from this play, which was a Tailwind Bladestorm combination from Sam. So NRG hoping for a first blood early will be denied. They do have control of A tower, but the spike is actually backing away. This is going to be a push through mid ropes, and bdog is here. If he could just get a read off this, it could be well for him. He's going to be affected by the fault line, and Sam will come through and actually finally convert that first blood later than they were hoping for. And as he picks up a weapon, he'll drop it for a teammate as they, again, continue to hold on to numbers and ultimates to play with. Elevate.
Ooh.
Oh, Buzz with the save. If he gets the trigger, he had a number of members nearby, maybe one more point of contact. He's going to be shrugged off the angle and then back away to safety.
He's considering it again. It's scared away NRG because they can see that rolling fund is good to go. And I actually think this decision to wrap around back to A is pretty good. You've just got the Killjoy over there. And if they can move a bit quicker, that rotate is going to be a little bit slow for Beast Coast. The rolling fund is still something to be scared of in the retake. No utilities really come out at all from jammyz. He's just chilling in the corner of the map. He's not really needed at this point. But the turret is going to be the indication that NRG are heading this way. Can they kill this Killjoy? Yes.
Yes, they can. A little bit of a double blast pack and the updraft to come through to make sure they secured. Neural theft will also be spent here for NRG. Really wanted to get a flawless round on the board to get this offense cooking. And it's looking pretty positive for them. Elevate trying to help clear up the top side of A tower. YaBoiDre holding on to backside screens as long as possible. Also deletes a spy cam, but the positioning for NRG is just so strong. You've got good consideration over through elbow. You still have a member looking long over towards A ramps. And I just don't think this is an opportunity that Beast Coast could really, truly go for this. And they were just searching for kills. It looks like they're going to back away and see if Drake can maybe find a couple exits.
It is really interesting that jammyz isn't using that toxic screen at all, even to just put it down, right? Even if you're not really planning to retake it. It's a great little, oh, we're going for this, we're coming from this direction. And it's right now just jammyz trying to save his gun. He can make sure that Som's ultimate can't get any more, but NRG double the rounds that they have. And yeah, still interested in how jammyz is going to play this. He is a very good Viper, but he's playing it very differently from what we've seen so far, at least.
Almost a bit more passive than we've typically seen. And a lot of the Vipers that we kind of came to know on Split really just dominated the middle of the map. He's been playing on sites. I mean, this time looks like he wants to set himself up for A, while his other component of defensive prowess of TiGG will set up most of her Killjoy abilities over towards B. So they're trusting the Raze to hold up the middle of the map while they trust the Killjoy and the Viper to split between the two sides. Dre going to try to be flashed forward, but he won't see anything, so he'll back away.
Yeah, he's almost been treated like a sentinel, I suppose, on that, but he's going to rotate away. The Omen is A ramp control, so he's going to keep an eye on it. It's similar like A along with the operator play, right? The Omen was in a position that I thought he was going to paranoia across mail, but NRG are very sheepish with their B control. Quite rightly, right? Because Beast Coast have put so much pressure on there. Your boy Dre is over there with another showstopper, so you definitely need to give that an ounce of respect. TiGG is in a very do-or-die angle, though. If he gets spotted out, he doesn't have any way to get off of it. He just has to hope that something comes to his rescue. A flash does come through, but right now it's just NRG poison himself. The From the Shadows is going to be used. It might be go time for NRG because their position was just given up.
Yeah, they're going to have to commit earlier, and Dre is able to find value off the showstopper. TiGG defensively staying alive, also denies the From the Shadows backside of sight. But now TiGG is all of a sudden trapped, is able to negate most of the first flash, cannot do the same to the second as daps converts the kill. But now Elevate back through. One Rolling Thunder traded for another. Elevate comes away with one elimination. Can he stay alive? Looks like he will be able to. And NRG are going to have to force to get this plant off. Aftershock will be sent, and that's going to tag up daps to just now critical HP. The Paranoia also rolled through. Daps, how many are you good for? He's able to get one, which is valuable. 1v1, eeiu from the low ground will take down bdog, and NRG still salvage the round.
And a lot of ultimates were expended on the defended side to try and stop it. We saw the showstopper, we saw the Rolling Thunder, we saw the actual From the Shadows very early on in that round. NRG come out on top, even with some nice play from TiGG in that position. It was eeiu on the breach. I really like him on this role. He showed up every game that they've had on Split, but mostly, of course, been playing this over. Bit of a buy coming out of Beast Coast, mostly the Bucky in a couple of the hands, but another quick execute coming through. Paranoia play going onto A ramp yet again, potentially by the looks of it, based off where the Omen is stood on the side of effys. And it's scary because Beast Coast keep pushing it and they keep getting caught out there.
Good paranoia. That's going to be the challenge for bdog. Finds one. The spam shot's fortunate for daps to find the immediate trade, but that will be a weapon picked up for the side of NRG, or pretty for Beast Coast. So now that they've got a lockdown to play with, you've got a double push coming through B main. That's going to be able to hear a lot of information of players rotating from sewer to B tower. And depending on where you want to try to hit this lockdown could actually really trap NRG to the back corners of this B site.
It is a tricky place to uproot. jammyz, though, with the Sheriff can't get as much done. Same for TiGG. He just sort of arrives a little bit late. Rotation of the last two defenders is going to make its way around, but the Phantom and potentially a gun in the hands of the Breach. It's hard to say at this point for Beast Coast, but they're going to be saving, so it's likely. Oh, yeah, he's going to be saving the Bucky, but there might be a gun from down here that he can maybe upgrade to. I think that's the idea, potentially. But NRG actually... oh, what was it? Beast Coast 4-0 up?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Here we go again. It seems to be across the day, these 4-0 score lines. But NRG are going to at least tie it up. Be a great time for Beast Coast to pull it back. I want to see how this Viper's pick gets used eventually. I don't think we're there just yet. I mean, there might be a bit of a scuffle here, so we'll wait and see. But they line up.
Dre does find one, but they don't save the weapon. Sam will also take down 2 kills, which will help him build towards another Bladestorm, which he has been really good with on the day. We talked a lot about in the previous matchup with FaZe that bdog had been incredible with the Bladestorm. Sam has been just as good, if not potentially maybe even argumentatively better. So as he's going to be working towards his second here, you will finally get a full buy coming through for Beast Coast. And I guess it wasn't actually the first 4. It was the 3rd run that NRG was able to take away. So not quite the 4-0 start that we were kind of conditioned to in the FaZe versus NRG series that we had previously. jammyz going to read a lot of information, all of it going right into the face of bdog, who's already used his paranoia. So now he's just got to hope for some good timing off the cloud.
Oh, they line up.
No, he gets both. Essentially 2 birds with 1 stone there, and NRG will be forced to play this round 3v5.
And they're very aggressive with the A-ramp control that they have, even knowing that a Breach Stun or a Paranoia can come through and punish them. They still want to take those engagements. Elevates in a nice little spot, though. He's going to get one. The peek out of TiGG is most likely going to get the other. Actually, no, eeiu gets both of them. Magic trick, but bdog gets his 3rd. He's had a great old round. effys on the outskirts needs to pick up the spike that is being watched by bdog. He saw it drop. And finally, Beast Coast can pick up a round after a brief interim of NRG.
And that's just one of those moments that if you're Beast Coast, you just got to swing that a little bit wider and just confirm the kill. That's how you get that a little bit cleanly. But it doesn't make much of a difference. It won't impact the round terribly. As effys is maybe going to try to sneak onto B for a plant. jammyz is the closest contestant. And honestly, if effys could find a 1v1 here, he could potentially do this.
Why is he trying to destroy the turret?
I don't think he recognized that the Killjoy was dead. That's going to now mean Beast Coast will fully rotate over. That's really unfortunate. Bounce past the paint shell's not going to find the connection. effys going to teleport. He does find one, almost able to grab a second, and that would have led to a very interesting 1v1 in the end. But unfortunately, reveals this position, shooting at the tacit utility of the Killjoy, and Beast Coast will get a defuse on.
I mean, I kind of get it. You've got to adjust. This change literally came in between the 2 qualifiers, right? Because we were playing on patch 1.10 in the Nerd Street one. So, granted, Beast Coast didn't get too far in that, but it's still the whole idea of, like, you get used to trying to kill the turrets as soon as possible. So, oh no, effys. No, I was going to say with Gen G, but he wasn't in Gen G at all, so never mind. But yeah, NRG could only tie up the score before Beast Coast bring it back. Viper's pick is going to be in play. A lot of these Viper players in NA like to use it very quickly. Would be an interesting spot for jammyz to use it in male and in mid. That's going to be the play. Forces NRG to the extremities.
We'll essentially dance with this to make sure that the smoke integrity stays full. NRG do have the potential of a showstopper. And if there's a boom bot, maybe there's a chance to try to send that through the Viper's pit to clear space. But it looks like they're going to be happy to stack over towards B main and leave daps lurking over towards A for now.
It's an interesting idea how this is playing out for Beast Coast. You don't really allow any pressure in on mid. You've got the Killjoy utility on A. You've got a triple stack on A, sorry, and the Killjoy utility on B. And NRG can't go over it or under it. It's looking like they want to go through it.
Well, defensively, the only player who's really here is jammyz. So the Boombot will go first. That will clear out everything in the front. Showstopper coming through. I love this committal for KOLER. As he comes up, he takes care of jammyz. That is exactly how you clear Viper's pit. The Boombot does a lot of the work, and then once you realize, all right, he's not in the front part of the smoke, has to be in the back. Let me just go ahead and hit the Showstopper and at least trade out my life at worst. They do it one better, but Dre lurking behind this. Neural that's going to come through. TiGG needs to be good for one. Not going to be able to find the first kill. The rotation for Beast Coast will be denied any pressure to the mid with that neural depth. So with that, it will be NRG on the site with likely a plant. Pretty easy.
Oh, he almost lines up again. Elevate is just forced to spray. There's so many smokes, but he gets killed for another one by eeiu. Rolling Thunder good to go on the attack. He's going to line it up. You can see these two defenders coming through. He's in a nice spot. As soon as he gets an indication that they're both there, he obviously doesn't want to use it right now if he doesn't need to. He won't. effys gets the two of them. And NRG deals with jammyz Viper Pit very well, but it was a neural theft that I think won him that round.
Absolutely, the neural theft. It's the solo play from KOLER first, right? I mean, the Boombot clearing up the Viper's pit is great. The Showstopper better. And then the neural theft denies Beast Coast the opportunity to pinch, which was all what that retake was looking to do with two members stacked through ropes. So, yeah, it's just a good use of ultimates here for NRG in a round that they would have loved to have taken, and they do so relatively cleanly. And now for Beast Coast, what can you purchase? The answer, not much.
Oh, effys gone in for the paranoia play again, but it is a bait. You've just got the Cypher over there, but Beast Coast don't really seem bothered by it. In fact, they're going to use paranoia themselves just in a blind bit of panic. Oh, Beast Coast are going to be pushing. Oh, the Showstopper gets nothing. Some just shuts that one down, even though YaBoiDre is able to get that first kill. They trade out, and it's a 4 versus 4. Beast Coast still not really having the best guns here.
Yeah, and look at that little cheeky play for NRG. They juggle the weapons backwards, so that way, even if Beast Coast try to commit forward for it, they're not going to have it in front of them in the actual garage itself. So we'll get a 4v4. Big shutdown for Sam and the Showstopper, but you have to respect the idea coming out of Dre. Trying to punish, and that would have been two weapons that could have been corralled for Beast Coast on this thrifty round. But how about this prediction? Beast Coast are going to full stack over to A, and currently that's where NRG are at with only 50 seconds to go.
They're actually going to be playing very close, and there is a Rolling Thunder available on this attack, even from the Shadows Dedicated. That's a beautiful shot from Elevate. Some must have been low, but TiGG's going to be able to wrap in now. jammyz is on the site trying to lurk as much as possible. He is going to peek onto effys, and wow, Beast Coast have turned this one around. daps gets thriftied. He gets buckied for his trouble. Great play from Beast Coast.
It's great for Elevate to find the first, but you have to give credit on the kill that comes through onto the spike carrier backside A ramps. Nobody for NRG was even considering the top side of A ramps. And with that, it's 5 rounds for NRG is where it'll pause. Beast Coast not going to be feeling great about giving away 5 rounds, but if you can still come around and find a 7-5 half win, you're going to be feeling pretty confident about what you were able to do versus a team like NRG here early. It's going to be down to a gun round here, though, for 12.
So far, jammyz's E button with the toxic screen has been near enough unbound. He's
unbound, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he doesn't need it. I imagine it's going to be used a lot more on the attack for the executes, but I could understand why it's not going to be as impactful or could be even detrimental to where you're positioning and how you want to play it. Toxic screen is getting a lot of use. The DK is going to come through, and the dash is coming through for some. The Rolling Thunder is going to be used on the defense, but it's KOLER that gets first blood onto jammyz, who's not had the best defense so far. The breaches are traded out.
Dre still on the site, though. He finds the first dog, able to help him out from behind. Spam shots to the cyber cage, nearly good enough. But the line of sight deterrent is able to allow one to stay alive, and daps able to find a kill as bdog goes over for a from the shadows play to mid. He'll reposition. eeiu is aware of this potential play, and he's going to see the weapon, and all of the trickery that was trying to be played by bdog will be denied. As soon as he teleports, that'll likely be a Rolling Thunder behind this. And even though bdog does find the first kill, no chance to get the second. eeiu will clutch up, and we'll go 6-6 into the second half. Yeah, honors even. Not a bad attacking half at all by NRG. They played that pretty well, but how are they going to do on the defense? Positionally, we can sort of see where they want to have themselves set up. Killjoy is
considering where he wants to play, but it is going to be B for the most part, which is understandable. And the toxic screen for the first time comes out across these A screens. It's really good because, especially for split, you might want to put a bit of pressure on A and then rotate to B. And that utility is still going to be good towards the latter half with a very quick execute onto A, a bait from B to A, or A to then hit B into a post plan. That toxic screen and all of Viper's kit is going to be key. You pair that up with Breach, who gets his foot line every 30 seconds, and there's 3 flashes. beastcoast are going to have a lot of utility here. How are NRG going to face it?
Looks like they're going to face it by just going right on forward. Dark cover will be placed, the boom bot as well. KOLER has some information that there's at least 2 players that are here, and they'll trust that just one will clear things out. Brilliant paranoia, though. Dre finds one. effys is only good for 1 in response, so a 2-for-1 trade favors beastcoast early, and then through the middle of the map, TiGG able to take care of daps, and this was all just a show of force for beastcoast over to A. It was never going to be a commitment. The spike is already on the B site.
Som is in an awkward battle. The Viper's pit. It's been so long since I've casted Viper, I swear.
Snake bite.
The snake bite, that's the one. Doesn't really catch on. It was a little bit slow to actually get that final kill onto Som. It's also left me. That's another excuse. bdog is going to smoke off and knows exactly where this breach is. eeiu is in a good position to try and face off of it and does get a frag. He gets surrounded by 3 players, but still able to take those engagements. Now it's just a Jett, 24 HP in a 1 versus 3. Turret on the high ground could be the one that gets the frag at this point. There is going to be a double stack, but he does try to isolate jammyz on the attack, who gets a lot of stuff done, but that initial play on the pistol was solid.
And TiGG for 3 is great to try to earn up for an early lockdown, which again just provides extra status effects that beastcoast can play off of based on their agent composition that is not going to be able to be matched or even beyond that negated from NRG. And you were talking about the fact that, and this is pretty typical. I mean, again, offensively, you're going to see a lot more toxic screens. Defensively, you're going to see a lot more poison clouds. It's just the way it goes. But it's just, for me, what jammyz could do with this to essentially bait out NRG to stay more solid defensively at A. Because often we see that Vipers will sit and kind of lurk over towards the A site. A very early dark cover thrown over to the middle of the map as you were thinking that maybe NRG was going to get aggressive in B main, but they'll back away. It'll just be a reset here. Flash will come through. Som can't make use. He'll tail one to safety. One more flash to happen. This time he immediately goes forward. There's going to be a little bit of help. And the 2-for-2 trades aren't bad. They know that Dre is hiding in a corner right now. It just comes down to, can they actually capitalize on the kill, considering that he's got a Vandal and still a lot of health to play with.
Paint shell's going to be key. It does actually get a little bit of threat onto eeiu, but it's the Vandal that gets the kill in. daps, because of the toxic screen from jammyz, was anchored onto that A site. We saw it quite a lot with Andbox, with NRG, where that kind of toxic screen forces the defenders to face very aggressively, holding super close. daps is doing it right now. He is just going to try and play around it, but jammyz knows exactly when that smoke is dropping. He put it down himself. So a nice adjustment from beastcoast, but NRG were able to get a bit of damage in.
Not bad, not bad. But now NRG can fully purchase. And they're mostly going to be met at face value here for beastcoast. I mean, a couple of members have had to repurchase in the last handful of rounds. You hold on to some of the ARs from the previous, including a Bulldog, and I believe 1, if not 2, between a Vandal and a Phantom in the mix.
A pause.
And a pause will come through. This is actually a pretty key round coming through. I mean, for NRG, you lose this round, you're back to a save. You're likely looking at 6 to 10. You win this one, though, and if you could do it cleanly, you might actually be able to force beastcoast to go into a light buy next round, and then you're looking at 8-8. So the difference between those 4 rounds, kind of collectively, the difference of a 6-10 versus an 8-8 is pretty key here for NRG to potentially talk about.
You would say at this point for beastcoast, it's just as planned, I suppose. jammyz hasn't been going too crazy. In fact, I think when you look at the stats, even the assists, average combat score, ADR, it's going to be pretty poor from his defending half, because really he didn't get utilized in any meaningful way other than a body anchoring onto a site for the most part. Now he is instrumental in how these attacks come in, and NRG already had to deal with this playing up against Andbox with Poach's Viper play, which is certainly one of the best. It's going to force them into tricky positions they don't want to be in. So, for example, now that we have an opportunity, NRG, Som gets an operator, he might be forced to play on A screens. Or even in some cases, the A anchor players, the ones that usually try to play A ramp, will have to play in like A lobby, I think it's called, sort of the main section before it splits off to A main and A ramp. We saw so many teams face that close. I remember like the spray down that I think we saw in one of the games too with the Omen play, like teleporting above. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Immortals, but in any case, like there's plenty of options that Beast Coast force NRG to do unwillingly, and I do think the potential of Viper is certainly unfathomed by a lot of teams. There are teams now running Viper across all the maps. Like Anders is a coach for a team like that. It's crazy.
And you're right, it was Immortals that made that little cheeky play, kind of using the terrain over towards A. That was in that matchup versus Dignitas, a really good one a couple days ago. But as we get into this round coming forward, Beast Coast looking to stack a little bit more heavily towards A. The spike is going to rotate through as they actually send a flash up the middle, but NRG are playing so passive, that's not really going to sway them one way or the other.
Screens are going up. This utility isn't going to be used up twice as fast. That was one of the nicer changes that Viper got recently, along with a plethora of other ones. But Som is going to try and play aggressively off of it. Nobody's actually going to be pushing up ramp at all. It's just going to be watched. Yeah, look at bdog, though. He's got a nice looking position, and there's a lot of confidence stomping. bdog is good for one, but Som manages to survive. The paranoia is great, but he just walks right into the shots. Som gets a headshot, 4 versus 3 on the retake.
This is everything for NRG. This is everything. You have to hold on to A ramps. That was the whole play for the retake. They do eventually get denied good awareness from Beast Coast. It gives them an exit away from this site, and it forces NRG to have to clear more shots. But again, there's a couple of taps from KOLER. Finds jammyz. There's really no reason to peek this if you're Beast Coast. And with that, now Elevate has to respond to 2. He's not going to be able to grab him, and NRG will get a retake. For Beast Coast, it was such a heads-up play. You just have to clear out A ramps, keep the exit, but peeking like that through the cyber cage is just not necessary.
The spike is diffused.
NRG played that properly. Magic that came out of KOLER's gun there with the couple of kills that he got. One of them was just more of like a spray and a flick, but he got the headshot. KOLER's not going to complain. He's 14 and 12. He's wishing that he was playing like this, I suppose, at the Ascent game against FaZe. Like, because he is a solid player, but it's almost like Corey, right? It's that inconsistency. If they underperform, it's a lot of pressure on players like Som and eeiu and across the board to make that kind of play well known. YaBoiDre is 17 and 12 as well. He's having a big impact as well as bdog.
Yeah. Cover going out.
Wow. That is a round that Beast Coast is going to be kicking themselves a little bit. There's a big opportunity to be on 9. And then a good look at 10. But now all of a sudden you're trying to hold off from NRG tying up this game. KOLER making his position be known up towards a B tower. And Beast Coast, again, are just kind of playing a little bit of a lurk status over towards the extremities as they focus mid-map.
Central play is on the cards for Beast Coast. They haven't really pushed it so far. The flash is going to be good, but daps was either on the low ground or dropped to it to stay safe. But now bdog is going to be sat in that position just watching it. The rest of Beast Coast, though, haven't really moved too much to set up and execute. jammyz is going to be lurking on A to try and face up against eeiu, but it's been watched by Som kind of keenly. bdog wasn't expecting daps to still be there, and he gets taken out.
Hey, that's a paranoia that doesn't really serve a purpose outside of revealing his position. It gets sent just to B tower. daps is still holding the angle. He's going to find not just one, but maybe a second. Yep, he's good for it. 3 total kills for daps. That's the spike now drop. jammyz the nearest one to pick it up with only 22 seconds to play. He's going to have to find this kill on to Som. And as he's unfortunately not going to find much action through the cloud burst, he's going to be backing away. And again, this has got to be a round that you really at this point just need to save. There's really no chance for this.
I thought TiGG might be coming to the rescue, but he was a bit slow. It's going to be 8 all on the rounds now. jammyz going to get peeked by KOLER, who has rotated all the way around. Nice play from daps to just hold in his position. Was forced into this spot, and it was very difficult for Beast Coast to root him from it. There was plenty of utility that could have been used, but instead they just hopped down and took those engagements one after the other. So Beast Coast punished for that. It is 2 rounds for NRG that they've pulled up. It's going to be a half buy, but more likely a save than anything from Beast Coast. And NRG are going to be taking the lead. By the looks of things, at least.
Yeah, by the looks of things. Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you. I mean, all you have available here for an offensive ultimate is the From the Shadows. You are close to a number of others, but you're going to have to find a way to earn those. Maybe that might lend towards the potential of playing aggressively for some of these ultimate orbs. Maybe you grab this one and then back away and try to play for the one at B, just to give you some more tools to play with. But as the flashes come through, it looks like that's not going to be the consideration. beastcoast is just going to gut check this and push right on forward. eeiu's good for the first. Has some counter flashes to send out. He'll find himself a second. How about now Sam on the site? daps helping from up top. beastcoast get absolutely nothing.
A complete shutdown. Flawless from NRG. And I'm a bit concerned about this playbook for beastcoast, because you expect with the Viper that it'd be deeper in some cases. It wasn't a buy show, so maybe it's a case of beastcoast don't want to show up too much. They don't want to use too much. But NRG dealt with that valiantly, just holding and anchoring onto the A site, won every duel that they were faced with. eeiu, the fact that he's pulling out that ultimate very early concerns me, mostly for the fact that beastcoast are nowhere near mid at this point.
Well,
But that would be typical NRG, using the ultimates very early on in a round.
well, here's the setup here. They're going to try to read information off this boom bot, and if they get good intel, they can flash forward, and then they can double follow up behind this. But again, it just comes down to, will they read and confirm that information? That's the real big question. Here's the boom bot coming out. Sam will see one. There's the Rolling Thunder. Immediately behind that, there's going to be the Blade Storm. And as well, it's going to have a showstopper. Sam has to go back to the Vandal, though. He will find one kill. The showstopper will come away with nothing. That's a lot of ultimates for only one kill.
beastcoast just need to very quickly reset. NRG have done the same. They've realized that play didn't really pan out the way that they wanted it to. It's an interesting question for beastcoast to try and answer now. TiGG has been lurking in this position, could potentially push through the smoke to try and face off against effys, sorry. And they're going to actually push back into mid after all of this, but NRG have sat back a bit more passively.
Oh, it's a big kill right there for effys. TiGG was hoping for a lurk play. Now everything is down to what happens with this duo that's coming up towards A towers.
30
B towers, pardon me. And eeiu is watching it. Flashpoint will shrug back the last contestant. A couple of shots will also tag. So now down to a single point of health is Elevate. He's going to hit the fault line, try to play it through ropes, but there's a player nearby and he's going to hear that. Sam right up top will confirm. Last one left is jammyz, and he's just going to sit and spawn.
Viper's Pit is going to be available for an upcoming round, but because they've been trading a lot more than we've seen previously today, beastcoast might only be holding on to this Phantom at this point. NRG now starting to look more confident, I suppose, on this defense. There is a buy coming through, but it is going to be a lot of stingers just to try and make a play happen. They have 5 ultimates on this attack too, so may potentially play off of that. Downside for NRG, like you mentioned, 3 big ultimates used on the defense on the play that only got 1 kill. It's certainly something that Jett and the rest of the NRG staff can look at and go, okay, maybe we should like dial that down a little bit or change the way we play it. beastcoast going to throw a lot in.
Early aggression here from Drake, moving forward. The flashpoint actually allows him to sneak right by the boom bot, but he doesn't find anything with the showstopper. The ground has been gained, though, so all in all, they get what they came for. But can they really do much with this is the real question. As they back away, NRG are just forced to play a bit more passive than they might like, but they're still here defensively and still looking pretty sound based on their setup.
Elevate's going to try and take this engagement against eeiu, but quite wisely, he's just dipping and wasn't expecting KOLER to actually wrap around. Where was the rest of beastcoast protecting Elevate with such an aggressive play there? And it's starting to fall apart just a little bit on the attack. It's not really the biggest round to play with, but considering the showstopper was dedicated, beastcoast surely wanted more than what they got.
And the weirdness of it is that you spend the ultimate to gain control up top. Sam's going to get a pretty easy shot there into TiGG. Everybody else coming up the top side of ropes. The toxic screen will be played with once more. daps will be tasked to hold on to this defensively. Snakebite will actually clear the angle. It's very well placed for him. Cybercage also going to be going in. Now you're under the 30 seconds. It's just down to Sam on the site with an operator of all things. And he's still good for 1. Cloudburst comes through. He'll stay alive. Opportunity for more. Dre will shut him down. The trades, though, will be there. And Sam is the only one to fall. And daps will, of course, very wisely pick up the operator to bring it to the next round.
Only the one ultimate dedicated though for BC. There's more reactive ultimates from NRG with the neural theft and from the shadow, so they're not really going to go toe-to-toe with him just yet. Someone's very close to having a blade storm, but I'm pretty sure he will prefer the operator in his hands considering how impactful it was in that last round. And I want to see more from Beast Coast. They definitely have the potential to do some good stuff, but it just hasn't really come to fruition. And with the economy constantly being hit, this round is a key one.
Absolutely a must win, you feel like, for Beast Coast. A lot of ultimates to potentially be spent from the shadows comes through, and Sam has to actually react to the boombot up close and personal. He's able to sidestep away from it. daps is going to push over into the site, even as the lockdown comes through. Now the Viper's pit will come out, and TiGG will use that as a security blanket to plant. No players detained, but NRG are looking to full surround this as effys finds the kill onto Elevate. They've completely, once again, entrapped Beast Coast on the site itself.
I mean, they're brave to go for this. In some cases, it almost feels like a free round for Beast Coast with this kind of ultimate. jammyz just needs to survive. He can't get caught out in positions, but they're getting things on the outskirts. The fault line is going to catch stuff through. jammyz is still alive. He is the last alive now at this point. The spray is good. effys gets free. They dealt with that perfectly. And I do feel that the playbook for Beast Coast is pretty much kaput now as NRG are on match point.
It's just one of those things that NRG get essentially 2 kills. I won't say for free. They're very nicely found, but the Viper's Pit you have to use as a literal iron curtain in some ways. Has to block off line of sight. If you're going to commit to playing on site like that because you have to, effys clears up the backside of A ramps, you have to essentially just hold 4 different angles inside or around that Viper's Pit. NRG get 2 kills before they even have to go inside the Viper's Pit. It becomes too easy at that point. Fault line just splits everything up the middle, and NRG just win the gunfight. So now map point here, and a handful of rounds in a row for NRG as they're looking to close this one up with 7 straight.
I want to see Elevate do some work with this Rolling Thunder. Actually, we're going to be seeing the Raze pushing eeiu right off of this angle. It has allowed a lot of space for them to take, but YaBoiDre loses that fight. daps, though, caught out by jammyz, at least, who's going to be sort of pushing in and playing much more aggressively. Rolling Thunder, where it gets placed, is super important for Elevate here at this point. effys, it's going to miss him completely. NRG managed to dodge it, but the damage is already done. Beast Coast take this round by the looks.
Well, you still have to remember that's low. 1 knife will do it for Sam. You also, I think, just saw information on a player down low. This is a 1v3 situation in technicality for Sam. He will reset. Tailwind over. No highlight play here. bdog shuts it off, but you go back to Elevate's Rolling Thunder. You killed 2 members mid-map. Do you really think there's going to be a 3rd one up top B tower like that? And it just feels like, again, maybe just not the awareness that you're looking for to Elevate, but still bdog will save the day as he goes to 20-14-4.
Still difficult for Beast Coast. Now all of those ultimates that they had built up and gradually used over the past few rounds are gone. And more important, they're starting to come online for NRG. There is a Rolling Thunder very soon for eeiu, and Som getting our first kill onto TiGG is not ideal to say the least. Som is going to be able to back off that angle, but is going to re-peek it. Isn't going to find too much though, and there's going to be another flash heading their way, but he's still able to get that kill onto bdog before he's eventually ushered past back into the mailroom.
But as the flash wears off, eeiu holds the angle, takes care of Dre. 2v5 for Beast Coast to try to extend the map. And this is looking a little bit too individualistic, isn't it? Elevate, jammyz both fall 1 by 1. NRG, they strike first here in a do or die best of 3. Again, on the line is not just a place.